Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show from the CPRS Conference 2026. In this episode, we sit down with Ally Lopez, a passionate parks and recreation professional whose journey started right here in her hometown. From after-school programs to leadership roles serving older adults and families, Ally shares how parks and recreation shaped her life and how she's now giving back to her community. We dive into the power of equity and inclusion in programming, creating meaningful community experiences, and why this field is more than just a career, it's a calling. If you've ever wondered how parks and recreation truly impact lives, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. Let's dive in.
5 seconds. There we are. All right, this is Craig LeBlanc again with the Daily Parks and Rec Show with CPRS Media Network, here live from the CPRS 2026. And I have a special guest with me, Ally Lopez. How are you doing, Allie?
I'm great. I'm having a great time. How are you?
Fantastic. And how are you enjoying the convention? How many times have you come to this one?
So this is my first time. Yeah, it's an immense feeling of gratitude. Born and raised in Long Beach. So it's awesome that it's my first time. It's a great learning experience, and it's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my first time out to California, first time out here, definitely first time in Long Beach. What did you say about growing up here in Long Beach?
Yeah. As I was saying, that I'm born and raised in Long Beach. It has been a wonderful experience living here. I'm fortunate enough to have easy access to local parks, the beach. And now I'm raising both of my children here, and they also get to experience, the Parks and Recreation Department with youth sports, summer camps, and prior to my new role, I was an older adult program coordinator here. So with the city of Long Beach, we have 7 senior centers, and it has been great. I love it here. And as I mentioned, I feel very fortunate that I get to experience my first CPRS conference here in the city that I was born in.
Yeah. So now, how did you get involved in Parks and Rec? Were you exposed to Parks and Recreation as early on, or did you something you discover later in life?
Yeah, so I was going to after school programs. I did start with youth sports, and then I met a supervisor in the city of Long Beach, and she introduced me, she exposed me to it, and then she's the one that gave me my very first job. And I was starting with after school programs. Here we also have teen centers. I did a little bit of everything, and I just feel like after, being there for certain years, you simply fall in love with it. And then shortly after that, I became the older adult program coordinator, and I was with them for 8 years. It was great. It's full of professional, leaders that they advocate for you, they support you, they contribute to your professional growth. And I feel like I wouldn't be here without, the supervisor from the city of Long Beach telling me yes and giving me that first job for the very first time. Yeah.
Now, one thing we do is, unfortunately, a lot of young college kids have no idea that this is even a profession.
Yes.
And oddly enough, they'll work as a lifeguard for like 3 or 4 years and never think that, hey, I could do this full time. What would be your testimony or encouraging words you would give to a group of college kids that aren't really decided what they want to do with their life? Why should they consider dedicating their life to parks and recreation?
I feel like with us, we get to serve the community. We get to, lead with equity, and we get to be inclusive and make a positive impact in their journey. When we're providing community events, we're bringing families together. We're the ones creating core memories for the families. You'll see, first time parents going to the park for the very first time with their child, right? Like that's a core memory. And as I mentioned, I didn't at the time, I had no idea I would end up falling in love with what we do. I wanted to be a forensic specialist. And I would say that it's great. And also that if you are in this journey and you're in the process, you're trying to find a full-time job, and don't get discouraged, just keep going. I am a prime example of, I was working for 2 agencies. I was a full-time student. I also went through experiences where I was discouraged, but I would say to never give up. And you are the only one that you can go hard for yourself and always believe in yourself.
Fantastic. Now, unfortunately, we use words like equity and inclusion. They sometimes get politicized and stuff, but what does that mean as far as from Parks and Rec's point of view? Let's just start with equity. What does that mean for a Parks and Rec department to have equity up in the forefront?
Right. So I would like to say, as a Jedi representative, I kudos to Long Beach, who, I have a lot of mentors there who taught me about what equity looks like and what we do with the city of Long Beach. We have that understanding that not everyone has the same access to opportunities. We have that understanding that everyone's circumstances is different, and us as recreation professionals, we try our best to develop strategies to give you that equity. As in, City of Long Beach just launched, their mats at the beach. That way, we make sure that every single individual has access to the beach.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to equity, we think about maybe some of the sports programs that are elite sports, travel ball. It's obviously not open to everyone, and not everybody gets that opportunity. But with Parks and Rec, we look at the entire community and maybe say, all right, who are we leaving out of our program? Who in our city does our community just does not have anything for them? Maybe speak on the different programming that offers to specific groups, maybe like the handicapped children or something.
Yeah, we do offer like adaptive programming, and we do have it for all ages in youth sports. I was fortunate enough to work for the city of Lakewood, and that's also where I gained more experience of what equity looks like as well. With youth sports, we had that understanding that not everyone has the same tools, right? So we would focus like older adults in adaptive, and we would even with the cost of equipment, uniforms, registration dates, and then we would also try to make it very family orientated, and we would have like parents volunteer for us, right? The agencies that I've worked for, I feel like they really have that understanding that every single category in Parks and Rec, such as whether it's aquatics, youth sports, summer camps, or older adults, like we try to develop the tools to give them access to it. And that way everyone feels involved, because you're supposed to foster a sense of belonging with community. And I would say that with youth sports, we broke the record like last year with the city of Long Beach. Like we had all ages register with them, right? And I would say that in every single agency that I've been in, and I'm currently with the city of Redondo Beach, but I would say with every single agency I've been in, we have that understanding, and I'm glad that they are the reason why I know what equity looks like. And I could say that we cannot accomplish things overnight, right? We know that there's still a lot of work to get done, and it's a work in progress, but we definitely have passion for it, and we look forward to continue, just making sure that we're giving back to our community.
All right, so let's dig a little into your personal whys. As in, think about why do you continue to dedicate your life to Parks and Rec, and what are those kind of events that really make it worthwhile as a career path?
Yeah, I would say as a child, I had a very hard time. I was raised by a single mom, and she didn't have that much knowledge of what recreation was about and what we offer. I do recall, being in aquatics. I was in Long Beach, and it was affordable for us, and I was able to be there, and I was able to meet recreation leaders and who were guiding me throughout the way. And I just feel like now that I'm an adult and I'm giving back to the community, I get to serve and make a positive impact. It's a beautiful thing that we do, and I feel like what makes it more personal is that I have two children who are involved with Parks and Rec, and I had them involved since a very young age. And I get to see the outcome of it. I get to see how it enhances their social skills. It boosts their confidence. And we get to also join family events, and we're creating core memories. And when I get to have that personal feeling as a mom, it encourages me that I want to give back. I want someone else to feel that as well, that type of happiness.
Oh, I love that. You said you were involved in aquatics at a young age?
Yes. When I was growing up, City of Long Beach, we have a king pool. So that's where I would swim a lot. My mom, she had that language barrier, right? So she didn't have that much knowledge, and we would just show up, and, the recreation leaders there, they were very welcoming, and like I mentioned, it was affordable, right? So that's where I spend majority of my time. Swimming there, I was always like the first one in and the last one out. And it's just interesting that when I grew up and I'm working for the city of Long Beach, it's a great feeling, because I know sometimes, you may be from a different type of town, or it's a smaller like neighborhood and not everyone has access to it. So I just feel like even though I was facing some sort of barrier, like I still had access to it because that's what the Parks and Recreation does. Yeah.
Well, we actually just launched, we have 9 shows with the Daily Parks and Rec Show, all about Parks and Recreation. And this last Friday, we launched a show just on aquatics. It's a weekly show every Friday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern, with my host, Wesley King. So maybe we'll get you as a guest just to talk all things aquatics and what it meant to you as a child growing up and how it's kind of helped you out.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
That's it. Well, Allie, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and appreciate all the work that you're doing for your local community, and hope you have a great rest of your convention.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic. That's a wrap, Toby. Thank you.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.